Welcome, everyone, to Influential Leadership. I'm John Hadley.
And I'm Dave Miller. John, I don't have a specific tip today, but I have a question that I think a lot of leaders, they may have encountered this or they may soon encounter this. The issue is, what do you do when you're working either with or someone's working for you who doesn't look at the business world in shades of gray, but is very concrete, very black and white, shall we say, about issues, and sometimes takes strong moral stands about the work they're doing or the position they're taking. Have you ever run into that before?
Yeah, I definitely have had some people like that. They can be really challenging because they just, sometimes it's just like they're yes you to death, but they just go their own way.
Or they know you to death.
Yeah.
So
the no is almost easier to deal with because when they just say no, you've got something concrete to talk about, or performance or whatever. When they say yes and then they just kind of resist, sometimes it takes a lot longer to get to the heart of it.
Yeah, and then you have someone who's a very good performer, but there's certain things they won't do. A certain project, a certain position, a certain conversation, and you don't want to demoralize them.
Right.
You know, because they're good. They're really good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But they can be annoying sometimes in that respect. Now you can try, let's brainstorm. How about we brainstorm for a minute here about some options you have? I mean, one option is you talk to them and try to work with them on maybe seeing things a little less black and white.
Right. I think you got to really get into their motivation around it. What's driving this to ever have a chance of?
What's driving it is, I think role play. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong to do this, and I'm not going to do it.
Well, what aspect of this do you find offensive?
I just think there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. I think ethically we should do this. That's
very black and white.
Okay, so you probably just tick them off with
that.
But it's true, and there's certain people you can take a direct approach with, and there's certain people, again, that is one option, the way you did it. I did just talk to someone who had that kind of conversation with someone, and when they mentioned black and white, the person got really offended.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask a lot of questions to get them thinking a little more outside the box. You could just redirect certain activities from them if they don't want to do them. I mean, if they're really a great performer, maybe that's the best way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really,
or even help them get in touch with the consequences of what happens if they always approach things this way. That's fine. You're doing a good job with what you're doing, but you're not going. It's going to be very hard to help give you the assignments that let you grow. If I've always got to be worried about whether you're going to do them or not. So
right, and again, this also could happen. It could be someone that's not reporting to you, but someone you're on a project team with, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like kind of where you were going earlier. This would be the first thing, that I would like to try is let me just really listen and try to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And get on the same side of the table with them. Help me.
Well, Dave, I can't do this project because it's associated with helping RJ Reynolds, and they're just a company I can't believe in.
Okay, I understand that. Tell me more. So what other conflicts do you have that we might have to be concerned about?
Well, to me, anything that would help their mission, because they're big in the cigarette area, and my dad had serious problems with smoking growing up. He was lucky not to have ended up with cancer. He had such a bad smoker's cough, and I had asthma. and he's a chain smoker. I'm surprised it didn't affect me more than it did. But I just think that industry has such problems. It's a product that I can't support. So anything that would affect, would help that industry, I can't work on that project.
The music part of the role play too.
Yes.
No, let's time out there. I mean, that's a good example. And I think in that case, I tried to. You could do a couple options. You could play hardball with the person and say, well, look, this is your job.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out if you want to work here or not. Okay, that's a little bit extreme, and I think if it's a really poor performer, you might have an out there, right?
Right.
If it's a good performer, though, and someone you think might be open, first of all, I think they just shared with you a pretty important fact about their life and stuff. So I would want to acknowledge that, and maybe you'll say, hey, you don't have to work on these kind of assignments,
right.
Anything that involves R.J. Reynolds, you could do that. You may also say if there's a lot of these, it may impact your career. I understand where you're coming from, but if there's 10 clients they wouldn't work on?
Right.
We'd say it's going to be hard to use you a lot, and it's going to be hard for you to contribute value to the company. So I'd be compassionate about it, but honest, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring this up because, and we'll probably bring more examples up of what do you do when you have a certain type of employee that you're trying to influence.
Right.
And there's a lot of times it's more art than science on these things. So
absolutely.
So think about it. And if you guys have a better suggestion or other options we're not even covering here, please, hit reply on the newsletter and let us know. We'd love to hear it. So until next week,
be influential.